today we gathered with Paul Vella, Natalie Vella, and Amanda Vella. And you guys, I'm your manager, and you guys are managers of a team, and you're new employees. All right. So your history is from marketing, which is your current role. We'll use your current roles as your previous work experience, Priceline, and marketing management. So we work for Utopia Business Solutions. Utopia Business Solutions have decided to adopt a performance management process, and today we're here for the training for the performance management process and how it will be implemented. So if you have any questions, please write them down. There'll be opportunity for questions or further discussion during the presentation. So a performance management process offers Utopia Business Solutions to develop a learning culture by allowing managers and human resources to identify performance gaps and organisational development needs through shared beliefs, values, goals and objectives, providing an environment where learning is supported at all levels of the organisation, and encouraging innovation and new ideas, as well as processes are put into place to allow open communication between the managers, employees, and networking and sharing of information. So when we share information, we learn more and we have a more connected environment. Risks are also encouraged, and mistakes and failures are seen as opportunities to learn. So there's 7 points that we'll be covering today. The first point is the provision of feedback. So feedback is both giving and receiving. So feedback, for your example, Amanda, could be that someone says the price is too high on cosmetics. So that's feedback. So it's how you take that information and how you use it. And feedback can be given again during weekly team meetings, through meetings with an individual team member, during a coaching session, during informal discussions with team members, so just on the lunch break, hey, how you going, how are things going? Normally that's when the best sort of feedback comes because it's very relaxed, as well as during formal review meetings. So we'll talk about formal review meetings later on as part of the performance management process. So one method that I want to touch on is the AID method. It's a simple model for providing feedback to staff. So the AID method follows action, impact, and desired outcome. So the action is describing a specific action that has caused the need for feedback. And impact is explain the impact the action has on you, the business, or others. And then D is for desired outcome. So you discuss suggestions for improving or changing behaviour, and you encourage the other person to make suggestions. Example of the AID method in theory. Let's use Amanda, you're the manager, right? And one of your cash register staff is finished her shift and she's counting up the till. So she's sitting in the office and she's rushing, rush, because she wants to get home quick. She's done the balance wrong and she's gone home and left. And then you've had to go and correct that. So you're spending 5 minutes extra of your day to go back, count the till again, and enter it again. So using the AID method with your staff member, you would sit down and talk about the action first. So you would say, on the other day, on such and such date, I noticed you were in a bit of a hurry, and you counted up the till really quick, and you've just entered it in, and it's wrong. And the impact of that would be that you had to stay back. So you would say, look, because the till was entered in wrong, I've had to now stay back another 10 minutes to recount the till and put it all in, so we're double handling work. The desired outcome, you would say, in future, maybe finish on the register 5 minutes earlier, take the time and count it correctly, and enter it again. That way, it's not taking up 5 minutes of your time. Okay?
Yep.
So that's using the AID method in theory. Alright. So it's important that feedback is constructive feedback and relates to positive and negative behaviours. So it doesn't always have to be negative. If someone's done something positive, you can still communicate that to them so they know what they are doing well. Okay? incidents or completed tasks. So when giving feedback, you need to focus on a specific issue or behaviour. It needs to be well timed. So in that example, it would need to be the next day. You wouldn't wait 3 weeks and say, oh, on this date you've done this and this. It's too late. You want to get it done as soon as possible. Ensuring that the person you are giving the feedback to is in control of the issue. So if the float was entered, you wouldn't tell person XYZ who had nothing to do with it. You'd tell the person who could control the situation. Another important thing is to acknowledge good performance, and that's when an employee performs at an acceptable level and provide constructive feedback on how they can excel in their role. So how to go from performing at an acceptable level to going to the next level. We should also, as managers, recognise regular and consistent excellent performance that exceeds performance targets, meeting organisations' performance standards. So ways of recognising excellent performance: you could give an award or certificate. You could mention them during a meeting and say, this person's performed really well, and give them a bit of praise. Offer a gift card, voucher, or gifts, a pay rise or a bonus. Even more challenging tasks. So maybe someone's doing really well on the register, using your example again, and you feel like they could go to more of a sales role and get them off the register. That they might find that rewarding. It doesn't always have to be money. It could be more about opportunities, or training and development opportunities. When seeking feedback, it's important to adopt active listening skills and assertive communication, as well as an understanding and commitment to develop emotional intelligence skills and techniques. So emotional intelligence is when we receive information and how we respond. So do we let our emotions take control, or do we control our emotions and give the best possible response? And the best way is through assertive communication. So people can be either passive communicators, where they take it all in and don't say anything, or they can be aggressive communicators, where they, as soon as something goes wrong, they're biting and attacking. And the best way to be is assertive. An assertive person thinks about, they're open and honest about their beliefs, and they think, what does the person want from the situation? What do I want from the situation? And what is the best possible outcome for everyone? So emotional intelligence and assertive communication can be developed. It's not ingrained in us. We can learn, and it's ongoing. So here we are here. So examples of assertive communication: thought process. What do I think they want? What do I want out of the situation? And what action will yield the outcome I'm looking for and preserve the dignity of everyone involved? Active listening is also very important. So when we're communicating, we need to encourage, and that can be simple as nodding the head, smiling, and we need to focus on the listener by not interrupting. We make eye contact, and also clarifying is also important. So asking questions to clarify the meaning.
It's pretty good.
Understanding it all.
Yeah.
You can relate to your own positions. Like, how about you, Paul? You had an experience where you've had to offer feedback. Do you want to talk about?
Maybe during performance reviews.
Yeah.
Definitely have to do.
So you've done performance reviews.
Yeah.
In previous, so
Yeah.
you understand the performance management process. What someone is.
It's difficult when you've got to give negative or the negative information to people.
Yeah.
It's important, what you're talking about with the emotions and how you need to control and how you have to be.
Yeah, and delivering that and receiving the information and yeah. So another part of active listening is reflecting by identifying the feelings of the speaker. So someone might be really offended by something, or they will react to a situation in a particular way. So you have to be aware of that. So something might be said that gets them really defensive or in a corner, or everyone receives information differently. Also, summarising what the speaker has said to ensure an understanding. Again, during the process, during your time with us, the manager will provide you with ongoing coaching and support. So emotional intelligence skills such as assertive communication and active listening, they'll continue to be developed through your time and with natural experiences and self-reflection. So at the end of a performance management meeting with a staff member, you might want to sit back and relax and have reflect on what was said, what can be said, or what you did well, and you'll grow from there naturally. There will also be opportunities to share these experiences during discussions at regular team meetings. So when we have team meetings in future, Natalie might want to bring up one of your performance meetings and just give some feedback to the team and what was good and what was negative, and we're going to all learn from that. Okay, so also the next point is monitoring employee performance. So by monitoring employee performance, it allows you as the manager to identify and manage any problems or issues as they arise. Monitoring provides employees with opportunities to develop the skills required to perform in their roles. So monitoring, different methods of monitoring is observing an employee's performance, how they interact with others, and how they spend their time. So you don't have to directly sit next to them and watch them. You might enter a room and be in your office, and you can see from your office, are they wasting time cracking jokes, or walking around, or spending too long on an assignment where they could be utilising their time more effectively. And in that monitoring period, you would be taking notes, and maybe if something needs to be addressed straight away, you could use the AID method and address the point straight away. Other ways of monitoring includes checking completed work to identify areas for further development or what is being done well. So a report, Paul, might get done, and maybe grammar is incorrect or spelling is incorrect. And if we're sending that to the client or entering a database, it needs to be maintained at a professional level. So you might pull that up and bring that out during your performance review and just say to the staff member, look, we need to make sure that we're using correct grammar and correct spelling at all times. And also, again, like what is being done well. So, if someone's doing something well, they need to know about it so they can get a boost and keep performing at that level. Formal reviews and progress meetings are conducted to avoid surprises and assist the employee in successfully achieving outcomes. So staff will have key performance indicators, and at the review stage and progress meetings, you'll be reviewing how they're performing towards those KPIs, and you'll assist them to achieve the outcome. If you can see there's a shortfall or a gap, you need to work with them, identify the reasons, and have them contribute to the discussion about how they can improve. It's not just you solving the problems for them, it's them finding out how they can improve. And again, you can seek feedback from customers, clients, colleagues, or managers. So feedback can be sought through direct conversations, as we said before, through surveys, questionnaires and reviews of customer complaints and comments. Monitoring employee performance is to be conducted in line with organisational policies and procedures and legislative policy relating to privacy, anti-discrimination, equal opportunity, bullying and harassment. So the Privacy Act is 1988 is Australian law that regulates the handling of personal information about individuals and how we use that information. So organisational policy and procedures can be found on the organisation's intranet, and human resources is your point of contact for legislative policies, organisational policy and procedures and support, and will be responsible for providing further training. Your manager, again myself, will provide ongoing coaching on the following topics: determining when to monitor staff activities and documenting positive and negative findings. Conducting performance reviews is the next point. So conducting performance reviews is a core activity within the performance management process. The manager, you, must have a clear understanding of the process, where to retrieve guidelines, forms and templates that are used to support during performance reviews, as well as complete forms and templates accurately. The manager must be able to store and retrieve sensitive documents related to employee performance. Again, support can be sought from the Human Resources Manager. When conducting performance reviews, you'll be paired with your manager, with me, until such time that you and myself are comfortable with your progress to perform the task alone. So we'll make sure that you're guided along the way and until you're able to handle that on your own. So we'll provide coaching and ongoing support on the following subjects: the performance management process, which is includes the performance management cycle, which I've got in the next slide for you, and strategies for performance management processes. There are 3 types of meetings. That's the planning meeting, the interim review meeting, and the annual performance meeting. Again, I will cover this in the next slide in further detail. And you can seek support from Human Relations Manager on maintaining records, using tools and templates, and the safe storage and retrieval of documents. A performance management appraisals meetings workshop will be hosted by IHR Australia, and this is an external training provider where you will learn how to conduct an effective appraisal meeting. So this is something that the organisation will be hosting for you to gain further skills. So this is what a performance management cycle might look like. So in March here we have the planning meeting. So you will sit with your employee and plan and the objectives and KPIs for the next 12 months. You'll also discuss any performance gaps or training needs, and perhaps you could even do a training needs analysis. It's your responsibility as the manager to look at opportunities to develop your staff. So if you see that they have gaps, and you can raise with HR about doing a training for that staff member perhaps. Then you can have a quarterly meeting. At least one interim meeting needs to be held to track how performance is going against a set KPIs. So in this model we've got a quarterly meeting, a 6 monthly meeting, and another quarterly meeting, and then the annual performance meeting at the end. And the annual performance meeting, of course, is where you look back over the year at how performance. Does anyone have any questions at this point? Anyone who has experience with performance management processes in the past, or interim meetings, or annual meetings?
No, annual meetings were like performance reviews kind of thing, but not interim. Maybe like a pulse meeting, something like that, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So what's a pulse meeting then?
I think it's very similar, like what you were describing, where we meet up at some point halfway through before a performance review and just chat, see how things are going, and if there's any questions and need help, things like that.
So going back to that sort of cycle, have you ever been where you do a planning meeting?
No.
Interim and an annual meeting? It's just, here's a performance meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That was a good little break. Go ahead there, team. So now we're up to the point where we provide intervention when required due to poor employee performance. So first of all, you need to be able to identify when an employee is underperformed, and how to record that, and then address the situation with the employee. What we'll be doing is we'll be employing an outsourced training provider which is IHR Australia, to conduct a full-day workshop designed to provide you with the competence and confidence to manage staff performance. So some of the key points for intervention in this subject is setting meaningful expectations, and these will be covered on the day during the workshop. But setting meaningful expectations would be like setting SMART goals, which SMART goals are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. Evaluating and identifying performance issues. So what is the performance issue? Effective feedback techniques, which we've already covered a bit of, but they'll obviously go more in depth. Establishing possible causes of any performance issues. So it's very important to identify what's caused the issue in the first place, so that we can solve it and move on. Appropriate resolution activities and legal consideration and procedural fairness, because we do not want to be seen to be conducting workplace bullying or behaving outside of legal requirements. Again, I will be providing you with ongoing coaching and support during, I guess, intervention. So if there's a need to intervene or pull up a staff member, I'll be with you the whole step of the way. So until such time that you can handle those scenarios on your own. Okay. So the provision of counselling when need is identified. If we're going to cancel our team members, we don't want to end up with an unfair dismissal claim, or we don't want to be behaving or acting in any way that's not in line with legal requirements. So it's important to understand the organisational guidelines, policies and procedures relating to employee counselling, and what external support mechanisms are available to the employee. So what we'll be doing is Human Resources will conduct a provisions of counselling training workshop, because they will be your support and go-to for counselling. Again, I guess I'll be here to support you as well and provide ongoing coaching if we need to cancel the employee. Managing disciplinary process. Again, we'll have Human Resources conduct a managing disciplinary process training workshop, and the training workshop will cover the following topics: an overview of Utopia Business Solutions disciplinary procedure, the objectives and purpose of the system, associated benefits, roles and responsibilities, monitoring and feedback process, documenting outcomes, signatures required, storage and retrieval. So this is very important that any discipline, like a first written warning or final written warning, whatever it may be, that they're all signed by the employee, by yourself, and that they're stored and retrieved using the right avenue, which is through Human Resources. So again, I'll be providing you with ongoing coaching and support as situations arise. A workplace mediation skills training will also be hosted by IHR to guide you through the key principles of conducting an effective workplace mediation, focusing on best practice process and the skills required of an effective mediator. And the reasons we do an external training provider is we learn from industry experts, best practices, and through a registered training organisation. It also gives us an opportunity to team build and network as well, expand our network. Does anyone have any questions on discipline?
No.
Okay. So the final point is termination of employees according to Utopia Business Solutions policies and procedures. Again, we'll have human resources conduct a termination of employees training workshop with the following topics to be covered: rights and responsibilities, what are the employee rights, and what are the responsibilities of you as the manager, the grievance procedure, support mechanisms available, documenting outcomes. Again, it goes back to signatures, what signatures are required, and are the right forms being used, and is the right process undertaken. Are employees given the right to have a representative with them who is there for support, not to speak on their behalf, but to sit in a meeting. So employee relations is another topic they'll be covering, equal opportunity and anti-discrimination, because we're bound by law and legal requirements relating to equal opportunity, bullying, anti-discrimination, work health and safety, enterprise bargaining, enterprise agreements and employee contracts. Again, this is very important. And Utopia Business Solutions policies and Utopia Business Solutions Code of Conduct. Again, we'll be providing ongoing coaching and support throughout the process. So thanks for participation and cooperation today.